Alright, in this tutorial I want to quickly show you how to add titles to your movie. There's a couple different things we need to do to add a title successfully, and the first thing is just to click on Titles and Text. There are a lot of different sections up here, but really I just recommend the General. Most of these kind of have a funny look to them and they're not really what we need for our movies. So under General, again, I just recommend the first three choices, really only the first two. If you need to put a title somewhere in your movie to talk about what's going on, you can do that with just the default text. And then if you want credits at the end, I would do default roll. So for this, I'm going to put a title at the beginning of my movie. I'm going to drag the default text into my movie. You need to be really careful when you're letting go of it to make sure that it's exactly where you want it. If you accidentally put it right on top of a clip, it'll kind of chop that into little pieces, and that can start to cause some problems in your movie. So it's best to just make sure it'll kind of snap to where you want it to go, then let go. It does adjust the audio, so you notice my song now got scooted over. If I had put this somewhere in the middle of my movie, it would have actually chopped the song into two pieces and left a gap. So the easiest way to fix that would then be to just put the song back together, and then you could either extend the song out or find a new song or something else for that other spot. But again, I actually want to put this at the beginning, so I'm going to set it over there at the beginning. And now I'll need to delete and close this gap, and then same thing down here. Okay, to edit the title, you can double click on it, and this opens up the adjustment window. There's a lot of things you can change, so it's not just a boring white letters on black background. We can get to a different version of the font by going to Style. If you go through here, you can kind of see what the letters would look like. So if I say took this one or this one, it actually shows you a preview of what it's going to look like on the side. Now, to move the letters around, you can see right now this actually wouldn't fit. The T is off the page. You're going to need to use the third button down here for mode. That's the selection tool. If you try to move this box around, I actually had a hard time trying to figure out how to make this happen. You can't move it because I'm on the text mode. That's going to let me type the letters. So to move it, you need to go to selection, and now I can actually move the box exactly where I want it to go. Normally, you don't put it right in the middle, up and down. It should be a little bit more towards the top. And you can kind of keep an eye on the sides to make sure it's centered. So this line's right on here, that line's about right on there. That means it's going to be right about in the middle of the page. Alright, so to start changing the words, I need to go back to the T, the horizontal mode. I don't think we're going to need the vertical one at all. And now I can go in and actually highlight the letters. And if you just highlight the letters, then as soon as you start typing, it's going to erase, add text, and put in your own words. So for this one, I'm going to put in GooLab, because this was a video about my GooLab. Now you can see again, it's actually not centered. So I may need to move it back over. Or there's this Align tool, and a horizontal center or a vertical center. They kind of a little bit confusing. This looks like it would change it going up and down. That looks like it would be left and right, but it's actually opposite. This one will adjust the center of it on the page. So if I click on this, you see it moved the whole title exactly into the center of the page. Now the vertical center would actually put it right in the middle of the page, up and down. But again, I usually like them a little bit more towards the top. You can change it to bold or italic or underlined if you need to, or change the size of the letters. Color, you can change. So right now I'm on just a white letter, but if I was to say I wanted a blue, now you can see my letters are blue. If I move this over to green or yellow, you could really you can make the color exactly what you like. So you could play around with that a little bit. I think I'll stick with maybe a blue. So there is a title at the beginning. If I press play now, we see the title is there, and then it should jump into the video. The cool thing that we can do with the titles is actually do what's called a title overlay. So if I move up a little bit here, so I've got my next video track up above. If I take the title and set it on video 2, I can delete and close this gap, and it should actually play the title over the video at the beginning. So if I go back now and press play, You can see the GooLab title is on top of the video. That can be kind of useful for certain projects. So that's called a title overlay. And you make the title the same exact way. All you have to do then is just drag it up to a different video layer, and it'll put it on top of your video. Alright, and you notice it's kind of see-through a little bit. That's called the opacity or transparency. You can change that if you want by double-clicking on your title and go to Applied Effects. And right now the opacity is set to about 60%. If I turn that up, you see the title's a little bit easier to read. I would recommend doing that. If you turn it way down, you can barely even see it. So probably want to turn that up. You could do a fade in or a fade out on it as well, and then just click off of it. And so now my title should look a little bit better.